Oh, wrong scene. There we go. No, wrong one again. Oh dear. It's all going Pete Tong. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bug Watch. I'm your boy Swisley and I'm here to talk to you today about Tyranids. Let's do that, shall we? While we get all the screens mixed up. Lovely to see you all, and I hope you're excited to talk about some awesome WCW action. Apparently we're out, Pete. Apparently we're in the Goldie. We're outside of the Goldilocks zone. Dragged kicking and screaming by Sam Pope, might I add. That's fine. That's fine. Everyone's allowed a good player, right? Everyone's allowed a good player. Cool. So, yeah. Let's get rid of this music. I am fresh. I've got a beer. Hope you've got one too, if you are a drinker of sorts. And I've also had Doritos and dip for my dinner, so I'm living the dream. And I'm looking forward to telling you about some of the things I've took away from WCW. I watched a lot of games, which was really cool. Got to see a lot of really great action on the Warhammer stream. I have to say those guys are getting it really, really right? I think they're really good. The stream. A lot of people asking for 2 games. I thought, yeah, I guess. I mean, I think just watching Warhammer, you have to just, I did try and sit down, right? And just go like, okay, I'm going to eat some crisps, have a beer, try and like watch a game of Warhammer. It's not doable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I think you need to have a group of you there to kind of, I don't know, chat about it while it's playing. It's not like you can watch it like a soccer match. I'm saying soccer, sorry, all my English guys, but the majority of my audience are American. 7% of which watch it with subtitles on, which I find hilarious. So that's good. So yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? It's not quite a spectator sport. How do we make it a spectator sport? You could, during the boring bits, flip to another game, but then you don't know when stuff's happening, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. For me, I'm unsure. But I think they did a good job. I think it was fun. I think Adam Camilleri and the guy from the other channel, I can't remember what his name is. He's lovely though. I think they did a good job. Cool. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're ready for some takes. Let's skip to the screens, and we'll get on with it. This is going to be shorter than the last one, because the last one had a lot more, I suppose, theory and what have you. This is going to be a lot more of results. Done a little bit of analysis on the results. It is a small sample size, so take it with a pinch of salt in certain areas, but it is pretty fun. So yeah, cool. We've got some people in chat. We've got 2 people who have just become members. You can become a member if you so wish. You get stuff like members videos. And come on, David, what do members get? You can sign up for coaching, things like that. We open the door for things like that, which is great. We've got some amazing coaches. We've got Jack Tite, winner of Coventry GT, the 3-dayer with his Sisters of Battle. It was amazing. We've got Thomas Lohman, the voice of the UKTC, and Team England player. We've got Ed Watts, who's absolutely amazing. I suffered my biggest loss to Ed Watts. I lost 114, which was savage. It was a rough day. But yes, we've got loads of stuff that you can come and get involved with. In fact, let me tell you about some just little bit of promotion here. Let's go to the next one if we can. Boom. So Bug Watch is about Tyranids, right? So I get a lot of people coming and watch who only care about Tyranids and then they don't care about the rest of the stuff on the channel. I do want to tell you that the other stuff on the channel is good. So we have some really cool videos coming up. We do like multi-faction stuff that you can, no matter what faction you play, you can resonate with. We do a bit of discussion, a bit of fun chat. We did what are the hardest armies to play in 40k on the main show last night. One I'd like to call out, which I think is really cool, is Tom is starting to do a state of the singles meta on a monthly basis, I guess, and that will be really cool. That comes out tomorrow at lunchtime in the UK, so please get yourselves involved with that, because that'll be really good. But we also do reasonable things, like nice things. So we talk about mental health and all that kind of stuff. We're very big on, I hate this phrase, it's very kind of contrite, but it's like playing the right way. We like to think that we do a good job of supporting each other and all that jazz. Ice Paramedic, evening listener, long time listener, first time caller. I think is the appropriate phrase. Yeah, man, Sure. Probably a commenter, I would say. But no, you're doing great. You're doing great. Right, let's crack on. Boom. So, WCW. If you don't know what WCW is, you get golden tickets handed around the world to event organizers. And the event organizers go, how would I like to distribute this golden ticket? I think they can give it out however they want, if I'm really honest. I'm not sure if there's any rules around it. But you can totally... I mean, I know one of our guys won. He won a long-term league thing, and then got the golden ticket for winning this long-term league thing. But then you could also just go to a super major or a GT and win one. But you get people from all over. So it's really cool event. I like that it's it's interesting. I think it's fair to say it's not always the best players in the world that are there. You get some of the best players in the world, but if I think about in the UK, Naz wasn't there, Tom and Ed from our team weren't there, Greg Chamberlain wasn't there. There's lots of players that I think off the top of my head could have went. But what happens is they mix it up because different people will win different golden tickets. And I think that's actually good because you get a variation on people there, which is cool. So you get a mix of ELOs, which we're going to talk about today. We're going to try and take out the ELO bias because some players are amazing, can make a list sing a lot better than some players who are on a different part of their journey. It's not to take anything away from the people at this event. I think the average win rate of people at this event was 75%, which is bananas when you think about it. So that's really, really cool. Anyway, let's get into it after that kind of introduction. And anyway, by the way, put in the comments what you thought about the event. The chat went crazy last time, and as a result, we got loads of views. I'm going to be really selfish and ask you to put comments in and chat because it's really cool when you do that, and it also gives me something to bounce off. Cool. So WCW was a good time for Tyranids overall. You can see the star. Look at that, guys. Graphic design on that. The star on the right-hand side, 56%. You might see other channels saying 57%. I think what I did was I excluded the shadow round that Sam Port played in, maybe. Or it might be 56 point something. No, sorry, it should be 56 point something, but I've rounded it to 56 as a total win rate. And in terms of net wins versus net losses, I suppose a net result. So it's all your wins minus your losses. We can see Invasion Fleet with a net of 11 wins, really adding to that win rate, and Crusher Stampede 6. That Invasion Fleet, by the way, 2 players on Invasion Fleet, so I think you can read between the lines as to who our most successful detachment was and player. We've got Crusher Stampede, who, spoiler alert, my kind of highlight for the tournament. We've got Subterranean Assault, which kind of actually on average was a slight negative in terms of wins versus losses, and then Vanguard Onslaught as well. So Vanguard Onslaught, 3 players, I believe, 2 with even records, pretty much, and then 1 who had a rough time, I think, with a 25% win rate. But yeah, a little bit of analysis on that as well. Hope you are looking forward to that. Vanguard Onslaught's our favourite. Most people's favourite detachment. If you could say to most Tyranid players, which detachment do you want to be the best? Most of us would say Vanguard Onslaught, right? Pretty much. So interesting to see. So let's talk about the detachment performance. What is the big takeaway in terms of detachments? Well, it's a bit of a precursor to this. You can't determine which detachment did best without really considering all the opponents that the players faced with their detachments and the pilots themselves. And I'm not going to go through every matchup and measure ELO versus ELO and all that kind of stuff. So what I have done is I've taken out the ELO of our players and tried to kind of mitigate that impact on the results. So the best players, for example, will get a negative influence on it, and the best players will get a positive influence on it to kind of even out, so that you at home, whatever skill set you are, can kind of objectively look at it and go, that's an interesting list. This is the one that maybe will help me get better, etc., etc. Hope that makes sense. So let's talk about the highlight for me is Crusher Stampede. Unbelievable Crusher Stampede. I would say definitely the most overperforming detachment based on previous data. This was a mid-performing detachment. It was fine, but it's come in and it's done really well. Now, obviously, it's a stat check. It comes with a question for your opponent built into it. Can you deal with all these monsters? And some opponents just can't do that. And that will obviously push your win rate up. 57.39 what I calculated. So it's like 56, 57, sure. So that's kind of what happened with Crusher Stampede. Now with Crusher Stampede as well, historically we've seen lots of Norns, and outside of WCW, we've seen Norns winning events, but there's no Norns at this event. And I think there's another secret little tidbit that I would give you to give you an answer why. Knights and Chaos Knights also didn't do great at this event. They got a 44% win rate between both of them. Big, chunky monsters and vehicles didn't perform well. And I think people saw this coming because Eldari was going to be really popular. We know that Admech have some really half-decent anti-tank. There's a lots of, you've got, what's it called? Raven Guard jumping up and down with las cannons. It really puts you at a risk if you're putting a point sink in there. And even though they're not that many points now, but it's so big, it's hard to hide. Its job is to stand on an objective. It's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to make and warrant that investment. So what we saw people do was spread out all that points over several monsters. And actually, the average number of monsters was 11 across both the Crusher Stampede lists. So they're making use of the cheaper, less durable monsters like Harrispexes. We saw 4 Harrispexes across 2 lists. One of them had 3 Harrispexes, which is so cool. Great to see that model doing well. So I believe that the Crusher Stampede lists were the second and third best performing, maybe, I think. So that's really, really telling. And that's not to say that Harrispexes are the best thing in the world. Go out and buy 3. And I'm going to put on my hat here. Right, so I've got a little prop for today. See this hat? I got this when I was in the States, when I went to North Carolina. It says Simple Plan because there's a band that I went to see called Simple Plan. That's what you need. You need a simple plan with any list that you create. So with these Harrispexes, we're going to hopefully speak to one of the players. So fingers crossed that we come on the show and we have a chat about it. But the Harrispexes, those 3 Harrispexes will have had a role in that list, is what I'm trying to say. So when you're creating your Crusher Stampede or your Invasion Fleet list, or any list, in fact, really have a think about, okay, I'm not just going to put a unit in there because it's cheap. I'll put a unit in there because it's a point sink. What's its job? What's it do in turn 1, 2, and 3 that's actually going to win you the game? So for me, and I really want to give you actionable things that you can take away here. If you're looking to start playing mids, and I know I usually say this about Invasion Fleet, and it's true, Invasion Fleet is a good place to start. But if you are more playing nids because you want to play big giant monsters, Crusher Stampede is a nice place to start. It's a fun way of doing it. You've got really interesting strats. You basically get Tank Shock back, maybe slightly better than Tank Shock. I can't remember. I haven't really compared it versus the new toughness skew with Tank Shock. You've also got some really interesting survivability things in there in terms of Savage Raw. I think that's the one that gives them -1 to hit you. So there's some really interesting bits, and you get to use all the stomping monsters. I would say, and a bit of a spoiler for later, but you still need a couple of idiots in there, like Hormigans and things like that. So yeah, very cool. What I would say though, if you are playing this and you're in the UK, it's probably not great on UKTC. I'm going to do another members video about this, actually, about terrain setups and how they differ. But essentially, UKTC terrain covers about 18% of the table, I think, top of my head. And GW and WTC cover significantly more percentage. What does that mean? Well, it means if your opponent goes first, they can get an angle on your giant base monster, they will blow it up. And if you've only got 11 to start with, losing the best part of 8% of your army is sucks, really, because you lost the roll off. So yeah, largely crap on UKTC, but definitely something I would give a whirl in GW mostly. WTC terrain, unsure. But yeah, I hope that was that's useful. We'll go on to Invasion Fleet now. Invasion Fleet. 2 players. We've got One player, was it Jacob? I can't think. I think it was Jacob, who was on the normal Invasion Fleet list, did great, did awesome. You think about that setup and all the players there, he did great. And if you want to play the normal standard Invasion Fleet, maybe you're new to Tyranids, go and play that. It's really good, right? It's very powerful. If, like me, you've played that list and you're bored to death of it, check out Sam Pope's list. It's really fun. I've played similar lists to Sam Pope's in the past because I saw Sam Pope do well with it, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. I got myself a bit of coaching from a really good player, and he taught me about how to do all the stringing out and things like that. And you know what? It's so powerful as an archetype, and it poses, like Crusher Stampede, a question before you even get to the board. Can you deal with all these termagants? So it's interesting. The difference in stat check, though, is that the skill floor is significantly lower. So with Crusher Stampede, you can stand a dude on an objective, monster on an objective, and it can die or it can not die. And actually, the floor of that is pretty high because there's not many decision points in there. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. It's different decision points. But there's more decision points per turn when you're playing this kind of invasion fleet with lots of termagants. And that is which termagant, how many termagants to put on an objective, how do I string them out in such a way that I can mitigate losing some? Can I grow back in the right distances? Blah, blah, blah. I would say if you want me to do a video on that, I will do one. Please put it in the comments below because it's a really interesting but difficult play style. And Sam makes it look super easy, but I'm more than happy to do that if anyone was interested, because it's unique. It's kind of unique to the Tyranid list. You have other armies that do swarmy kind of builds, but none of them to the extent that Invasion Fleet, and none of them that regrow as powerfully as Tyranids. You've got Necrons, but Necrons, come on. Yeah, so there's a lot of decision points per turn, which is quite taxing for you mentally as well, so be aware of that. And so if you're looking for a challenge, get a Sam's list out, get all those termagants. I painted, I think, 80 in a week once, and my head nearly exploded. So yeah, my advice here is, having played this list archetype and a few different detachments for Tyranids, so an ending swarm, if you remember that, I actually played on stream a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, at Hellstorm Mikey's event, where I took like 140 gaunts. That was a really fun game. I won't link to that because it's an ending swarm, so it's kind of binned off now. But I have got a link. It's in the description below for another game which I found, which was a TTS game of Tyler Bortel from America playing a World Eaters army. Now it's interesting because actually melee armies is what I think is the hardest matchup for this kind of list. So it's really interesting to see Tyler perform against that list. I won't spoil the ending, but it's good. So if you are into watching TTS, things like that, go and watch that. But if you haven't played this before and you're interested, here's my advice. Set aside at least 20 games to play it. The reason is, if you barely play, I wouldn't even recommend playing it because it's super frustrating if you don't have reps. It's unforgiving. If you put things in the wrong place, all of a sudden your primary plan is in the bin and you're just not scoring points and you're dead because your army's made of termagants. So give yourself a lot of time and give yourself some space to lose, right? Because you will. It's really unforgiving. There's loads of tricks. There's loads of really intricate pieces about taking the right models off. But once you learn it, it's really good. And then you'll go to events with this list and you will need a clock, not for you, because you will know what you're doing, for your opponents, because their heads are going to explode as soon as you drop this army on the board. So, and I can't emphasize that enough. You do the thing, you put the clock on the table and you go, sorry, mate, it's for me. It's not, it's for your opponent because they're going to use all the time. So yeah, if you're based in the UK, I would say this is a really good army to play. I think there's just enough hiding spaces to make this viable. It won't be the same as Sam's list because I think there's more spaces easier to get to more objectives in GW terrain. But on UK TC, I think this is something you can make work, and then you we'll need other tools to solve other problems that UKTC poses, like fast-moving scouting armies, things like that. The big L in the middle, how do you stop your opponent just running 1 million bodies through the wall and killing all your termagates, for example? So, no, really great. And I mean, it's Sam, right? He's awesome, and he's been rocking this for ages. It's no surprise that he did amazing. If you don't know, he went 8-0, but didn't make it into the finals. He lost the shadow round to Richard Seiglar, who was the eventual winner. You know what? Not a bad go at it, mate. So well done. Let's just look at the chat. The meta is moving away from anti-knight, which benefits Crusher. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if WCW was a month ago, it would be way worse because everyone would still have knights. But you're right. I think there is a bit of that. Yeah. I think a few people actually dedicated a significant amount of their points to killing to swarms. Actually, like things like with Admech was the most taken faction. I think that was known by a lot of the best players. So potentially that. We saw Crusher doing good until the night meta dominated the scene, and we need some more people chatting because I feel like an ass commentating a lot. Yes, we do need more people chatting, please. I think there's only 7 people watching. It's all good. But thank you very much, Ice Paramedic. Let's go to Subterranean Assault. So Subterranean Assault was pretty much even results, right? Pretty much even results. And that kind of makes sense in a weird way. It's a greater sample size for a start. So that will either push it to be more volatile or even it out a little bit. And in this case, it's evened it out. But it's also indicative of the army itself. There's more creativity in lists with Subterranean Assault. If you look at the list, they're very different. You know, obviously you need your snack of choice, but there's, you know, I mean, even until recently, people were taking Hive Guard in these lists until the night meta disappeared. But you look at even the snakes of choice, people were mixing it up. We've got Hyperadaptive Raveners, we've got Raveners. My favorite list, which was Kyle's, took Morlocks, and on paper, you think to yourself, that's crazy talk. But actually, having played it into Elves, it's really good. I mean, everyone knows Morlocks are good against Elves, but actually in this detachment, it really makes them sing, especially with the double Hive Tyrant tech that Kyle put in there, which was really cool. I might do a list on Kyle. I might do a show on Kyle's list because I'm so in love with it. If I wasn't playing Final Day all the time at the moment, I would definitely be on that list. So as a result, there's more creativity, and that means there's more skill expression, but also more failure points. Everyone can be creative, but some people are good at being creative, and some people are rubbish at being creative in life. At this event, we've got some of the best players ever. Some of those lists, but they're going against. Sorry, we've got some of the best players in the world, but those lists are going against other people who are also the best players in the world. Subterranean Assault it gives you the creativity to do what you like. But if it doesn't work, you're going to really pay for it in an event like this. So it's got really high ceilings. If you pull together the best tech in the world or the best weird meta call and then get all your right matchups, you're going to absolutely cakewalk it and look like a genius. If you don't get those matchups and you just get like the worst matchups over and over again, you're going to look like an idiot. So you're kind of halfway house, right? You've just got to hope for the best with this list that you've created. It's very kind of skew in one direction, I find. And I think Kyle's list is a really good example of that. It kills one wound things like Sisters, Eldari, Drukhari. It bodies them, right? I would like to see what it does against Admex. I think it'd be quite interesting with all the blast as well. But if I don't know what matchups he got. If he didn't get those matchups, then it's going to really suck. I mean, Matt Law, if I remember rightly, an amazing player we're going to talk about with Vanguard Onslaught, amazing player. I think he got Knights round 1. It's like, that's just not the matchup he wanted. So it's, unfortunate. But with Subterranean Assault, there's lots of opportunities to excel, but you really need to have a simple plan and a bit of luck. So again, as I say, a great example is Carl's list. There's a clear strategy there, and what's really interesting about Subterranean Assault versus the others, and I think this is really cool, is you have to link in your list building with your strategy and your plan for the first 3 turns. So it's really kind of like building a list you might do 500 points at a time almost, right? And say, well, this is what I'm trying to do with the list. Okay, now the next 500 points, how am I going to support that happening? And you keep building it like a sandcastle. I think it's really interesting. You can see that come to life in Kyle's list. It's like, well, I need this to allow that to happen, and it's brilliant. And there's some choices in there you think to yourself, well, that's bananas. No one's done that before. And it all works and it all sings together. It's really cool. And I think that's a really great learning for anyone watching this, if you're trying to get better at list building, is to try and build that up together. Hello, Spacebugs. Hope you are well, sir. Hope you are well. So are you looking to play Subterranean Assault? Well, here's my advice for you. Be prepared to lose, because it's unforgiving as balls. It's really, really scary sometimes. And the worst part about it is everyone thought it was amazing in June. Everyone learned how to play against it in July. And then its win rate just kind of dropped off following that. It's still really good. It still has really cool, reliability in terms of its shooting. The reroll ones is just outstanding. Like, having played it, I was like, wow, this just feels amazing. Yeah, you just need to be prepared to focus on why you won and focus on why you lost, and actually take those learnings. I have a spreadsheet, because of course I do, where I record all my wins and all my losses and try and understand where my weaknesses and strengths are within each list. I thoroughly recommend it if you're playing something like Subterranean Assault, because as soon as you click onto those pieces, like, oh, actually, when I did this, I lost all the games I did this in, so I need to stop doing that. And yeah, do that learning. Some people, when they're trying out a list, if they kill someone because they didn't know how to deal with it for the first 3 games or something, just sit there wanking themselves off thinking, wow, I'm the best person in the world. Don't break your arm wanking yourself off, mate, because actually you're going to play against someone who knows what your army does and will bin you off. So give yourself, if you're going to play Subterranean Assault, play really strong opponents. Don't bother with people who don't know what the detachment does or is unsure about how to approach it. Try and find someone who knows what it's going to do. Try and beat that person, because that's how you'll get good. In terms of terrain formats, I actually think this is one that can work again along all terrain formats. I tried to deploy Kyle's list on UKTC terrain, and I think I actually could do it with minimal death early in the game. Maybe some changes would need to be made to get it to fit the terrain. But yeah, you just need to be able to deploy it, I think, is the key thing, really, and understand the mix of reserves versus what goes into strat reserves. So you don't get absolutely bodied by Tau or Eldari turn 1, who just get in your face and blow you to pieces. So yeah, very cool. So then moving on to Vanguard Onslaught before we move on to the next slide. Vanguard Onslaught, 3 players, 2 of which were playing a more popularized version from Nathaniel Borge, who actually I think was at the event last year. So it's kind of like Nathaniel Borge's lists, but with Hybrid Adaptive Ravenous. And that's cool. And then, of course, one mad lad in Matt Laura playing a really cool list with barb gaunts and stuff like that, which was super heroic. I'm gutted he never did better. Yeah, that first loss, I think, really made it unfortunate. It kind of ruined his run a little bit. So yeah. So the stereotype of Vanguard Onslaught is it wants to go first, and the stats make that very right. Again, small sample size, 50% win rate going first, 17% win rate going second. That kind of tells you the story. I find that Vanguard Onslaught is kind of the worst melee army in the game. It's like a dedicated melee detachment, but it's one of the worst in the game because it doesn't have access to fight on death. It has, it's fast as anything, but when it gets there, it's like it's AP1. And if you want to really go at people, like you can jail, and it does work, but it's difficult. I think it's very it's executionally unforgiving, because if for some reason you miss a charge or you end up in the open, like that unit will just die because it's got a 4-up armor save, so it's gone. So it's very unforgiving. I think we see that in a few of the results. Even when going first, 50% win rate, you're like, you'd want a better one if your army was built to do that. And I think really the meta is quite hostile to it, right? You've got World Eaters, which I think were like the third, quite predominant. Well, it's quite predominant in the meta right now overall. But they just say, I think I'll just fight on death, and then all of a sudden you lose half your army while trying to kill them. So yeah, a bit funny. And Again, I've loved this attachment. I did that video on it like 2 years ago, which one of my favorite videos that I've ever done, where I talk about how to play Vanguard Onslaught, but not this aggressive style, because it hadn't been brought to the fore yet. Yeah, it's super cool, but it's just for me, like I look at it, I just go, I just will lose too many matches playing that at the moment, personally. I think on WCT, so if you are looking to play it, I think on WTC terrain it's pretty good, more so than GW and UKTC. But again, if you're going to play WTC, I'd probably recommend Subterranean Assault personally. Just my take on that. So let's go to the next bit. So who were the interesting unit level performance? So after last week celebrating the demise of the Exocrinates, went no. I am still amazing, and you still need me. It was included in every top performing Invasion Fleet and Crusher list, which is the four, pretty much more or less the four best performing lists. And lists with 2 or more averaged 5.75 wins versus 3.8 for lists without them. Kind of tells you the story, really. They're just really good, right? They're just great. 135 points. People, other armies want them. They're really, really strong. So, yeah, they were kind of the standout performer in reality. Like, if you, on average, the people that had them just outperformed the people that didn't. And I suppose that's very much skewed by Sam Pope, but it is what it is, right? It's if a good player is taking them, then they're probably good. Let's look at Zoanthropes. So Zoanthropes are very much kind of a specialist pick. They used to be in Vanguard Onslaught. Remember that? When everyone used to take Zoanthropes in Vanguard Onslaught. Now it's Subterranean Assault, which has kind of leaned into them. And again, the kind of story of Subterranean Assault was no one really knowing what shooting to take. I think in July and August, people were taking Maliceptors and maybe a Norn, but Tyrannofexes was a big one. Then people moved to a bit of Hive Guard and a bit of Zoanthropes. And now the best performing list had 2 blocks of Zoanthropes. Having played this, guys, it's really good. And elves hate it. It's so good. The order in which you do things in that list, Kyle's list. Sorry, I'm just in love with Kyle's list. To kind of bring it all to life, you shadows at the right time and you shoot at the right time, and it's absolutely outstanding. It's really good. So the Subterranean Assault lists that had 2 bricks both had higher wins or win rates than those without Zoanthropes. And I think that kind of tells you the story. The ones that didn't have Zoanthropes were very much melee focused, and if you put that alongside, we're going to put that in a box here, just next to where I'm sat, and we're also going to put Vanguard Onslaught not doing very well as well. Let's say that in that same box, and then we'll get back to it in a second. Swarmlord used across 3 detachments. Guys, remember when no one used to use Swarmlord? Remember when it was just like trash and everyone was it's rubbish, it's garbage. No one ever takes Swarmlord. Used across 3 detachments. There's not many units that can say that. Maybe the Exocrine and the Bivor and the Lictor, and that's it. For Swarmlord to be in that world, that's pretty cool. And lists with the Swarmlord overperform regardless of elo as well, indicating it's a strong pick for everyone. So if you are considering a Hive Tyrant, Swarmlord stonks went up when the free strat kind of got nerfed for the Hive Tyrant, and winged Hive Tyrants are a revive and work for some people, but not, especially in the UK, they do not work. So very much check out the Swarmlord. I mean, he's absolutely like turn 4, bringing this like turn 4, and you're running out of cards to play, so to speak, right? You're like, which card should I play to win this game? If you can drop the Swarmlord and run him into the middle of the board, and your opponent's got chaff and rubbish, that's a good card to play. So no, he's good, and he supports you throughout the game because you get the free CP and you also get the Vect, and you also get the 9-inch Synapse, which is not nothing for Shadows in the Warp as well. And then finally, it's the return of the Humble Maliceptor. I mean, it never went away, but it kind of lost popularity to the Exocrine and the Tyrannofex. It kind of fell away a little bit because at 170 points, it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of points. But it had a positive performance across all detachments, regardless of elo, which is really good. And had obviously strong mid-board tank that works well in multiples. So we saw a lot of armies take 2. And I think they're just really good at, if you're trying to create space between you and your opponent, they are a really good like speed bump, right? because if your melee army jumps into it, then they're -1 to hit, and you have a 4-up invuln, and you T11, and you've got 14 wounds. If you're getting shot, well, you're a 3-up armor, 4-up invuln. I mean, that's still pretty good, right? Still pretty good. So, yeah, those are the 4 overperforming, I suppose, or standout units for me based on the data set. So let's talk about durability. Let's talk about one person in the chat in the comments last week said, "Hey, how did your really important, super cool, very insightful chart that I made by basically guessing where I would put armies? How does that stand up to the performance?" And there's something about this actually. I originally kind of went, yeah, it doesn't really matter because this is the silly chart. But let's have a look. So we can see that basically the bluey green is positive, really strong performance. The orange is kind of middling or slightly positive, and the red is, I suppose, below average wins, right? So they were tended to be more killy. We saw a lot of people try and be really killy, and they kind of did okay. The ones that kind of, I've done this circle, and again, there was no science behind this at all. It was just my vibes. And Kenneth did a 4-4 with the triple Norns in tunnels, and this is a guy, I think he went 4-1 the previous event before that with the same list. It's not a bad list. Again, it's matchup dependent. There's something here about being surviving and having a proactive plan, or as I like to call it, simple plan. There's something in that. There's something to be said about durability, because the meta at the moment is very, 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 very aggressive. If you look at Tau Monka is one of the scariest armies you can play at the moment. They just run forward and shoot the hell out of you. Eldari, if you see the way that the guys play in the UKTC, where basically you've got 1,500 points of elves in your deployment zone turn 1, shooting you with full rerolls and all this kind of stuff, it's terrifying. So being really durable, counterintuitive in a way, because you want to be aggressive, right? Like my final day list is very aggressive, but actually maybe being the durable one in a sea of aggressive armies is quite good. Are we, I've got an animation in here, guys, let's go. Are we the punching bag of the meta? Maybe that's our job, and maybe that's what'll work. So, are you putting out tons of termagates to basically say, okay, you're really killy, are you? Prove it. Maybe you're putting out 11 monsters. You really killy, are you? Go on then, prove it. And I think there's something to be said about that. I'm shocked that no one can make a simulation swarm work. I think that a simulation swarm must have something in there. I would like to see someone try it, but I think you can have a lot of fun playing the list that these guys played, and I'm sure in their local metas or on another, potentially with another run at the tournament where you get different pairing, these guys will do great. But for me, it stands out that the, I suppose, best performing lists were the ones that ask the questions of their opponent in terms of durability. And I think that's really quite interesting. Brandon Davidson in the chat, I finally caught my first Bug Watch live. Hi. I don't blame you. It's not your fault for not catching live. It's me for not doing enough videos. Hopefully, I'm going to do a few more. And before I go, guys, we're actually coming to the end of the show now. I wanted to give a shout out to this YouTube video here. This is, I'm not going to pronounce that, but you can see it and you can search for that on the YouTubes. But Tyler Bartel played Douglas Svensson on stream on this channel. And if you want to learn about how to move with your termagants and how to string them out and do all the stuff, Tyler Bartel is a pretty good pilot to learn how to do that from. So go and watch that video. But if you'd like to see a video in that, I'm more than happy to do one. Please put it in the chat. It'll take a lot of brain power from me, so I'm not going to do it if no one asks for it, if I'm quite honest with you. But that is it from me for this episode of Bug Watch. I'm really excited about the future, man. I think I'm looking forward to the data slate. We'll probably do a video on what we think the data slate will bring. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts in the chat about what it'll bring, but for me, I don't know. We just need something exciting. I need a data sheet rewrite, man. I need a data sheet rewrite on a lot of things. But we shall see. I'm really a fan of the hyperactive Raveners. I think Raveners are great as well. But it just shows you, man. I mean, I was so bored. I won't lie to you. One of the reasons that I haven't done many videos prior to last week was, I was just a bit fed up with Tyranids. I was like, I don't want to play Invasion Fleet. I don't want to play Vanguard Onslaught. Subterranean Assault's all right, but people kind of know how to deal with it on UKTC terrain, which is obviously where I live. But then coming into WCW and seeing the variety of lists, all the data sheets, well over, I think, 2/3 of the data sheets even available are being used. I mean, that's so cool. And giving you that inspiration to go and play something different is really cool. Annoying while I'm on a good run with Final Day, but it is really cool. And I hope you were inspired as well. We've got something in chat here. Do you reckon 6 norms could work? No. I don't think it could. I would, sure, go and try it. I'm sure someone's tried it, but it's fun. But as soon as you pull up against someone who can deal with it, yeah, you've kind of just lost. And you can, even though you're OC 15, you can just get move blocked. So that's another thing. Cool. Well, that's it from me, guys. Come and join our Discord. Like and subscribe. Watch Tom's show tomorrow about the singles meta. That'll be super fascinating. He is a brain box on all things 40k. And I'll catch you next time. See you later. Bye.